In the vibrant city of Kano, where the sun painted the skies orange at dusk, Titi and Dapo were known for their love and ambition. Married for 2 years, they navigated life as a power couple. But beneath their success lay the constant pressure from family and friends to start a family of their own. Every gathering brought unsolicited advice. "When are you two going to have kids?" an aunt would ask, her eyes gleaming with expectation. Titi and Dapo would smile politely, exchanging knowing glances that spoke volumes. They had visited doctors and local healers, all reassuring them they were both capable of having children. However, they felt unprepared, caught between their dreams and societal expectations. During intimate evenings at home, Dapo often broached the subject of starting a family. One night, while they shared a quiet dinner, he leaned back in his chair, folding his hands behind his head. "Titi, don't you think it's time? We've built our careers and our life is good. Maybe we should think about building our family now." Titi hesitated, her heart racing. "Dapo, I just got promoted. I want to focus on my career first. A baby will change everything." He sighed, concern etched on his face. "But will we keep delaying this forever? What if it's too late one day?" Despite their loving bond, a silent tension brewed as Titi struggled with her ambition and Dapo's longing for a family. Each time the conversation arose, she felt a wave of anxiety. "I promise eventually we will have both a family and flourishing careers," she reassured him. But deep down, she wasn't ready to risk her current position. One rushed afternoon, Dapo realized he had forgotten an essential document for an important meeting. His heart raced as he drove home, mind racing with thoughts of the presentation. He arrived and dashed inside, desperately searching their bedroom for his keys. In his haste, they slipped under the bed. As he reached down, he noticed a small decorative box that seemed out of place. Curiosity piqued, he pulled it out, thinking it was one of Titi's keepsakes. However, as he lifted it, several contraceptive pills tumbled onto the floor, scattering across the polished wooden floor. His heart sank. Anger surged through him as he realized that Titi had been hiding something significant from him. Just then, Titi entered the room, her cheerful greeting instantly replaced by dread as she saw the spilled pills. "Dapo, let me explain," she pleaded, her voice trembling. But he was already storming out, feeling betrayed and hurt. "You've been lying to me, Titi. Why would you do this?" he yelled, slamming the door behind him. That evening, Titi sat alone on the couch, tears streaming down her face. When Dapo returned, the air was thick with tension. "You chose your career over our future," he accused, his voice shaking. Titi tried to explain her fear of losing her hard-earned promotion, but Dapo felt deceived. "I thought we were in this together. You should have trusted me," he said, hurt flashing in his eyes. Titi tried to reach out, her voice softening. "I just need more time. I was scared of how everything would change." But he shook his head. "You need to choose between your job and our marriage." After a long, painful night, Titi realized she had to prioritize their relationship. She promised Dapo she would stop taking the pills and focus on building their family. Her heart aching for the trust they had lost. Months later, Titi and Dapo were overjoyed to learn they were expecting a baby. When their daughter, Bisade, was born, their hearts swelled with love. They marveled at her tiny fingers and toes, feeling like their family was finally complete. As they cradled her in their arms, Dapo whispered, "She's perfect, Titi. I can't wait to see her grow up." Titi nodded, tears of joy in her eyes. But as time went on, both parents became consumed by work. Titi thrived in her new position, often working late, while Darpo's project deadlines kept him away from home. They missed countless milestones, with Besaid often left in the care of a nanny. One evening, as Titi rushed home from a late meeting, she thought of how she had missed Besaid's first steps. "I'll make it up to her," she promised herself. When she walked through the door, Besaid greeted her with a big smile. "Mommy, I made you a drawing," she exclaimed, holding up a crayon masterpiece of a rainbow and stick figures. Titi smiled, but quickly glanced at her watch. "That's beautiful, sweetheart. I have to get ready for a meeting, though." Besaid's smile faded slightly as she watched her mother rush away. Over dinner, Titi noticed Darpo seemed distracted. "Are you okay?" she asked. "You've been quiet." He sighed, pushing his food around his plate. "I just miss spending time with you and Besaid. It feels like work is taking over our lives." Titi's heart sank as she realized he was right. "I know, Darpo. I'll try to be home earlier. I promise," she said. But the words felt empty as the demands of her job loomed large. When Besaid turned 9, her grades began to slip. Concerned, Titi and Darpo arranged for a private tutor, Mr. Say, hoping to help their daughter catch up. Each evening, Besaid waited alone for him to arrive. Her parents rarely home before bedtime. She felt the weight of loneliness, her heart heavy with unspoken fears. At first, Mr. Say seemed kind and supportive. "You're a smart girl, Besaid. We'll get you back on track," he would say, flashing a warm smile. However, over time, his behavior changed. He began complimenting Besaid more often, touching her hair and leaning in too close. One evening, he asked her to sit on his lap while they worked on a math problem. Confused and frightened, Besaid hesitated, feeling an uncomfortable knot form in her stomach. When she refused, Mr. Say's demeanor shifted. He slapped her hand sharply, leaving her stunned and scared. Tears filled Besaid's eyes as she resolved to tell her parents, but fear held her back. When she tried to express her discomfort during a brief moment at dinner, Titi dismissed her concerns. "You're just being silly, Besaid. He's a nice man. Focus on your studies." Over the following weeks, the incidents escalated. Besaid's heart raced with anxiety each time Mr. Say arrived. She became quiet and withdrawn, a shadow of her former self, her laughter replaced by a heavy silence. Titi and Darpo, too preoccupied with work, remained oblivious to the pain she was enduring. One morning, Titi found Besaid had wet the bed, an unusual occurrence that shocked her. "Besaid, what's going on? You're a big girl now." Titi scolded, unaware of the deeper issues at play. Later that day, the school principal called, expressing concerns about Besaid's hygiene and behavior. Worried and confused, Titi and Darpo decided to seek medical advice. At the hospital, the doctor's words felt like a punch to the gut. "We've found signs of trauma," he said gravely, looking at the couple with pity. Titi's heart raced as she clutched Darpo's hand, disbelief washing over them. How could this happen to their little girl? When Titi regained consciousness after fainting, the room was filled with police and social services. They began to question her and Darpo, their expressions heavy with judgment. "We need to speak to Besaid," one officer stated firmly. And Titi's heart dropped. A therapist approached Besaid gently, kneeling to her level. "Hi, Besaid. I'm here to help you. You can tell me anything. You're safe," she said softly. After much coaxing, Besaid finally revealed the horrifying truth about Mr. Say. her voice breaking as she spoke. He hurts me." The therapist listened, heartbroken, before confronting Titi and Darpo with the painful revelation. "Your daughter has been through a terrible experience. She needs your support now more than ever." As the investigation unfolded, it became evident that Mr. Say had abused several students. Shocked parents were outraged, demanding accountability. Titi and Darpo felt an overwhelming sense of guilt wash over them. How had they let this happen? The school faced closure while the police searched for Mr. Say, who had gone into hiding. Despite his initial elusiveness, he was eventually apprehended and sentenced to life in prison, a small measure of justice for the families affected. Meanwhile, social services removed Besaid from Titi and Darpo's care, requiring them to complete parental training before they could see her again. The couple faced months of pain and guilt, attending therapy and support groups, confronting their failures as parents. Weeks turned into months as they worked tirelessly to regain Besaid's trust. Each day, they wrote her letters filled with love and encouragement. "We're so sorry, Besada. We love you," they would say, hoping for her forgiveness. Finally, the day arrived when they could see her again. Titi's heart raced as they walked into the brightly colored room filled with toys and art supplies. Besaid sat in the corner, drawing quietly, her innocence still intact. "Besaid, we missed you so much," Titi exclaimed, kneeling down to hug her. "I'm so sorry for everything. I love you." Besaid's eyes filled with tears as she hugged her mother tightly. "I missed you too, Mommy," she whispered, the warmth of their embrace mending some of the hurt. Darpo knelt beside them, wrapping his arms around both girls. "We promise to protect you, Besad. No one will ever hurt you again," he vowed, his voice choked with emotion. As time passed, they rebuilt their family, attending therapy sessions together and sharing their feelings openly. Titi made a conscious effort to balance her career and home life, realizing that her family was her true priority. Darpo, too, adjusted his work commitments to ensure he was present for Besad, cheering her on at every milestone. As they gathered for family dinners, laughter returned to their home, gradually healing the wounds of the past. Over the next few years, Titi and Darpo worked diligently to foster a safe and nurturing environment for Besaid. They established open lines of communication, encouraging her to express her feelings without fear of judgment. One sunny afternoon, while playing in the garden, Titi noticed a change in Besaid's demeanor. "Mommy, can we paint together?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Titi grinned, feeling a rush of joy. "Of course, let's make the biggest masterpiece ever." As they painted side by side, laughter echoed in the garden, each stroke of the brush symbolizing the love they were rebuilding. Besaid smiled, her face lighting up as she mixed colors, creating vibrant hues that danced on the canvas. "See, Mommy, we can make anything beautiful," she exclaimed, her confidence blossoming. Titi felt a swell of pride and hope. The darkness of the past no longer defined them. They were forging a brighter future together. As they admired their creation, Darpo joined them, grinning from ear to ear. "What do we call our masterpiece?" he asked playfully. "Family love," Besaid declared, her voice ringing with joy. Titi and Darpo exchanged proud glances, hearts swelling with gratitude for their resilient daughter. Years later, sitting on their porch during a warm summer evening, Titi reflected on their journey. The struggles had tested their relationship, but they emerged stronger, more united. Darpo wrapped his arm around her, pulling her close. "Look at our girl," he said softly, watching Bisade run around the yard, her laughter filling the air. "We've come so far." Titi nodded, her heart full. "Yes, we have. And I will never take any moment for granted again," she replied, her voice filled with conviction. As the sun set, casting a golden hue over their lives, Titi knew that together they could face anything that came their way.